Good morning. Happy first day of school. I'm going to start with a read aloud today. I'm just going to ask you to think about what school is feeling throughout the book. It changes. In the beginning, he feels one way. In the middle, he feels another way. And by the end, he feels a completely different way. This is one of my favorites because it reminds me a lot of how we usually feel. And especially this year, I think all of us can relate to school. So this is a story about school who is personified, which means that they're giving human-like characteristics to an inanimate character, which is the school. He starts the story off feeling one way about school and ends completely different. So while I'm reading, I want you to think about how he's feeling and how he's changing throughout the story. Okay. School's First Day of School by Adam Rex. That summer, they dug up the big field and poured the foundation and set brick on top of brick until they built a school. A sign above the door read Frederick Douglass Elementary. That's a good name for me, thought the school. Most days, a man named Janitor came to mop the school and buff his floors and wash his windows. This is nice, the school said to Janitor. Just the two of us. Won't be just us for long, said Janitor. Soon the teachers will come, and then you'll be filled with children. The school creaked. Children? All kinds of children. They'll come to play games and to learn. Oh, said the school. Will you be here? You'll see me after the school day is over, said Janitor. Don't worry, you'll like the children. But the school thought that Janitor was probably wrong about that. So just at this point, I want you to start thinking. In the very first page, how did he feel about being in school? He felt proud. He felt excited. He liked his life. He's learning that there's going to be children coming in, and he's kind of starting to feel a different way. Try to think of what that emotion, that feeling is. Then they came. The children did, and there were more of them than the school could possibly have imagined. They got everywhere. They opened and closed all of his doors and lockers and drank water from his fountains and played on his jungle gym. So that's what that's for, thought the school. Sounds like he's kind of learning a little bit at this point, kind of like all of us on the first day of school, learning the new normal. Some of the older kids gathered by the school's back fence and showed each other their bored faces. This place stinks, said one, and the school gasped. I hate school, said another with puffy hair, to the agreement of his friends. The school sagged a little. That word sagged. What does that make you think of? What kind of emotions are attached to that word if somebody is sagging? Definitely a different feeling than he did have in the beginning. One very small girl with freckles didn't want to come inside the school at all. Her mother had to carry her. I must be awful, the school whispered to himself. Later, he squirted the puffy-haired kid in the face, then felt bad about it afterward. So this little girl with the freckles, has anybody ever felt like this girl on the first day of school? He watched the kindergartners sit on the rug. The teacher said, as we go around the circle, please tell us your name. There was an Aiden, and a Max, and a Bella, and a Chloe, and a Caden, and an Emma, and another Aiden. The small girl with freckles was next, but she wouldn't speak. She only stared at her shoes until the teacher moved on. I don't like school, she whispered into her lap. Well, thought the school, maybe it doesn't like you either. The children were in their chairs finally, but just as the school was starting to relax, his fire alarm sounded, and all the children exited and walked to the other side of the field and stared at him. He was so embarrassed. He held his doors open for them when they returned. I'm sorry, he said, as the first child entered. Sorry, 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 he told them all, even the girl with freckles. So he's kind of feeling like he did something wrong at this point. He's gone through a couple of different ranges of emotions, and at this point he's feeling a little down, like he did something wrong. At 12 o'clock, the school was filled with food. At 12:30, the school was filled with garbage. At one table, a boy told a funny joke, and another boy laughed so hard that milk came out of his nose. Now I'm covered with nose milk, thought the school. He had to admit that it was a pretty funny joke, though. Even the girl with freckles liked it. kind of changing, kind of starting to appreciate some things. After lunch, the kindergartner kids learned about shapes. A rectangle has 4 sides, said the teacher. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a square has 4 sides too. In fact, a square is actually a special kind of rectangle. Wow, said the school. I did not know that. Kind of having fun. Now he's learning something new. Afterward, the children made pictures with glitter and paste. The girl with freckles made a picture of the school. It looks just like me, thought the school, except glittery. It's like she's known me all my life. Do you think I could have your picture? The teacher asked her. Don't tell anyone, but I think it's the best. The school thought she was probably right about that. The freckled girl smiled when the teacher stuck her drawing onto the school with a pushpin. Ouch, said the school. But he didn't mind. Not really. So that little girl seems a little special to him. I want you to start thinking about why he might connect with her and why he has a special feeling towards her. At 3 o'clock, the parents came to pick up the children. At 3:30, janitor came to pick up the school. I was full of kids, the school told them, and I heard a joke, and I accidentally had a fire drill, but everyone was nice about it. And I listened to a classroom, and I learned about shapes. You had a big day, said janitor. Do you think, the school said, do you think that you can invite everyone to come back tomorrow? Especially that little freckled girl. Janitor nodded. I'll see what I can do. Later, janitor sat on top of the school, and they watched the sun go down. In the beginning, I didn't know what I was, said the school. I thought I was your house. Nope, said janitor. I suppose some other place gets to be your house, the school added. Janitor nodded. That's true. But you get to be a school. That's lucky. And the school thought he was probably right about that. The end. So at the very end, there's a much different feeling than the beginning of the book. I love this one quote that he says, in the beginning, I didn't know what I was. I thought I was your house. So in the beginning, he was feeling quite scared, quite nervous, and he didn't know who he was, and he didn't really know what to expect. And he connected that little girl with the freckles because she was somebody who he can kind of relate to. And I think all of us can kind of relate to this story and to school's feelings this year. There's a lot of different emotions, a lot of different things going on, and this is the first time that we're ever coming back this way. So I'm sure there's some emotions that are similar to school, feeling nervous, but I hope by the end of the day, we can all feel like school at the end of the day.